If you want clues for what the future of student loans holds in the United States, take a look at the AIM Higher Act, the proposal put forward by congressional Democrats on the Education Committee in the House of Representatives. If the Democrats do take the House, as people expect, this is something that could serve as a roadmap for proposals that they're going to make for changing the student loan system in America. The Democratic proposal for student loans would increase the deduction for discretionary income from 150% of the federal poverty line all the way to 250%. In other words, for a family of four, you might be able to make over $50,000 a year and still pay zero on your student loan debt, which is truly shocking. Now, at the same time, higher income earners would be hit from this plan. Once you start making over approximately $100-something thousand, they start lowering the deduction of 250% by 5% for each $1,000 over and above this threshold. So basically what you'll find is after $120,000, this deduction starts declining, and then at $170,000 of adjusted gross income, your deduction for your discretionary income is actually 0% of the federal poverty line. So in other words, over $170,000 of income on the AIM Higher Act, your income tax rate would effectively, or not your income tax rate, but your student loan payment rate would effectively be 10% of your adjusted gross income. There would be no deduction. So in that case, student loan borrowers that are making a higher income would be discouraged from using the loan forgiveness strategies that exist today a little bit. It wouldn't make a massive difference, but it would result in many higher income earners paying a couple thousand to a few $1,000s more on their student loans than they otherwise would. Now, for different plans that exist today, those would be grandfathered in. You could stay on those repayment plans, but the AIM Higher Act, I believe, would lock you down into whatever plan you're using, which is one reason why I do not believe that somebody could do revised pay-as-you-earn for 19 years and then switch in the 20th year to pay-as-you-earn and benefit from the interest subsidies. I think at some point they're going to change the repayment plans and lock everybody into what they're using, and you're not going to be able to switch anymore. I think that the AIM Higher Act would also be a boon for public service loan forgiveness because they would probably expand the program. One of the proposals is to include all of the doctors in California and Texas that are not employed directly by not-for-profit hospitals because of various weird state rules. It would basically include anybody at Kaiser Permanente, for example, that would get public service loan forgiveness that currently does not. So this AIM Higher Act would drastically expand public service loan forgiveness. It would make basically every repayment plan 20 years until forgiveness similar to the pay-as-you-earn plan today. Low-income earners would pay less, higher income earners would pay more. And of course, it still does not address the elephant in the room of the large tax bombs that people will owe in 20 years when these loans are forgiven. So the other alternative to this plan that's been put forward by Republicans is called the Prosper Act, which I've discussed at length. The Prosper Act creates its own set of problems. It wipes away the tax bombs, but it addresses that, but the payments that you'd have to make would be 15% of your income, and you'd have to basically pay that until you paid the standard 10-year plan. So we'll see what happens with the reauthorization of the Higher Education Act. My sense with today's political climate is it's still going to be potentially a couple of years before we actually get an agreement hammered out on that act. And when it does happen, it's going to be really interesting to see what the end result is. So what I would say, though, is overall Democrats want to make the plan more generous for low-income people and less generous for high-income people, which you would tend to expect. So if you have any suggestions about the AIM Higher Act or what you think about it after reading our article about it, just drop a note in the comment section. And also, if you want a student loan plan because you have a lot of student loan debt, just reach out, visit our site, studentloanplanner.com. Just click on the Hire Us button. We'll be happy to help.